vulnerable moments, like for you. My wife said something to me, and I guess sometimes I can be a meathead, I guess, and I'm clueless. I think everybody is clueless if you don't belong to a certain group, right? I don't know what goes on in the mind of a woman before they go to a gym. I don't know how they prepare. Look, when I come, it's time to go to the gym, I'm just looking for my sweats, my Nikes, and my band. Like literally, it's like I got my headphones, they're charged, my Nikes, that's literally it. I mean, it's not even a thing, right? So we talk about that vulnerability. Like, what are some of the things that maybe men just like we need to be cognizant of? Like maybe we're not even aware that something is going on.
Well, one, I think the biggest thing is that a lot of people fall into the comparison trap, and
Ready to work out. Before you start, heavy or not, you want to go ahead and use your superpower to give you that strength and energy to make it through your workout. Get you some. Ready to work out. Before you start, heavy or not, you want to go ahead and use your superpower to give you that strength and energy to make it through your workout. Get you some.
Awesome. Welcome back to another episode of the CVMK Show, because it is what it is. I'm your host, the one, the only Mr. Light Skin Man himself, Cody Bird Marshall Kelly. For them that know, they know. Look, I want to thank you. The fans make this work. Sometimes you think like, man, I can't dunk a basketball. I haven't won a Super Bowl. But you guys have been really responsive. You got us over the 15,000 yard mark for YouTube subscribers on the business for CVMK Global. Obviously, the supplements and whatnot. We're almost at 80,000 followers. You guys have been absolutely fantastic. Cannot thank you enough. And without you, none of this is possible. But we have somebody on the show today that is amazing, that is going to share her story. And I really think bring truth to power and insight, and at the same time, inspire, because fitness is a real thing. And it's more than just lifting weights, more than just sitting there doing dumbbell curls and drinking nasty shakes. No, it is a whole vibe. But we want to get to the truth of it, because what makes you go, what makes you be consistent, particularly as you age? How do you do this thing? I'm getting older now, and I'm not the young kid anymore, and as I age, I got to really pay attention to my health, because I want to be able to move. My wife wants me able to move, because if I can't move, but we're going to get there. We're going to go there. So we have a special guest on. Her name is Brittany. She's absolutely fantastic. She's going to give us all the details. It's going to be an amazing episode. But before we begin, I need you to do a couple of things. You want to keep seeing people like we have on today. You got to do this. This is simple, y'all. It's one word. It's 4 letters. CVMK. I need you to go to YouTube, hit the subscribe button. Matter of fact, then I need you to go to all the social media platforms. Are you a TikToker? CVMK Global. If you're on Meta, you're on the Gram, CVMK Global. Fanbase, CVMK. It's all CVMK. Pinterest, CVMK. Follow, stay in tune. Today, we just dropped our vanilla protein isolate. Yes. V-Way. I was making the status right before we started this podcast that it was dropped today. Finally got the third-party testing. Finally got everything back. The design was cool. I was like, let's do it. I was gonna wait till tomorrow, but I couldn't get it out of my head. So I need y'all to go to www.cvmkglobal.store today. Use code V-Way, WHEY, 32% off the whole store just for this weekend, only because it's a new product drop. But you got to do that. And if you do that, we can keep rocking, because we will go higher. After a quick word from our break, we're going to come back with the one, the only, the amazing, talented Brit. See you soon. Brit, how you doing today?
I'm doing fantastic. How about you?
I'm great, man. I'm really super excited. First of all, and I've said this before, when you reach out to somebody, you just don't know. Like, this person's either gonna be like, who the heck is this? And then you're trying to frame your message like, I don't want to sound corny. At the same time, I don't want to, sound like a DM. Like, how do I do this? But you have been absolutely fantastic, timely in response. I think just a force of positivity, and I'm super excited about having you on the show. So before we go any further, let me first of all give you your flowers, and then I want you to tell the audience a little bit about yourself. Look, one of the things that I think pulled me to have you on the show was, first of all, you're one of the few people in fitness that actually has a podcast themselves that I've looked at. I've looked at some of your content. You know, sometimes in the fitness space, and I'm not against anybody's way of building their brand, how they go about it, right? I think some of the stuff can be gimmicky. Some of the stuff for married preacher like myself, I'd be like, look, I would like to follow, but I don't want to end up on TMZ or So I decide not to, because I'm flexible like everybody else. So, but there is a healthy balance that you possess of, yes, the inspiration, yes, the physique, but also the ability to have these hard conversations, the ability to inspire and to inform. And I think that is the secret sauce. So let me start by giving you your flowers there. For them that do not know, they don't know, Brit. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, so I am Brit Inez. I am a fitness coach, wellness athlete, content creator, entrepreneur, and one half of a podcast host. That's a mouthful. And I started my journey, 2009. So I have been in this for quite some time now. And over the years, everything has just grown and evolved to what you now see as my brand. It definitely wasn't always like this, but I am always willing and open to sharing just my story, how I got started, how I've helped people along the way, and nothing is really off limits.
I like it. So you talked about, getting started, this journey kind of starting for you in 2009. I always get interested in the why. Like, what made you go down this path? Because now, I feel like it's not as genuine because there's so many different ways to do it. But in 2009, we're talking about, people were still getting, Flex magazine, and you couldn't just, I look, especially for me, and this is going back in further than that. When I was in high school, bodybuilding, it was Jay Cutler, Ronnie Coleman, like all day, every day. And it was like, you had to pick, it was the Kendrick Lamar and Drake of that time. So like, what got you into this?
Yeah, so let me rewind. I should probably say I started competing 2009. My journey actually started when I was 13 years old. That's what a lot of people don't know. And basically what happened was south suburbs of Chicago. I was born and raised, and my mom would go to a bodybuilding gym. And one day she asked me to go to a competition. And I'm like, I don't want to go see that. That's too much. They doing the most muscles. I don't want to go. She's like, come on, go with me. I went with her, and I remember sitting in the audience that day. And I just saw my jaw dropped when I saw the athletes on stage, men and women. And at the time, back then it wasn't popular. There was no social media. So it wasn't like the it thing to do. I just fell in love with what they were able to accomplish. And I looked at her and I was like, Mom, do you think I can do that one day? And she was like, of course you can do that. That was all I needed to hear. The next summer, I joined the gym. And I would just go to the gym and just hang out. Like, I wouldn't even work out because I wasn't old enough yet. I would just go, I'm like, let me just come here and hang out and watch y'all train. And there was this big wall of competitors that you would see when you first walked in. And I'm like, I'm going to be up on that wall one day. And I just fell in love with it. And I would get up in the morning at 4:30 in high school and go work out with them, then go to school, then come back home, go to band practice, come back home, do my homework, rinse and repeat, and do it all again. So I learned discipline and structure at a very, very early age. And I think that's a big reason why I've been able to be so successful in this for as long as I have, because I had a really solid foundation.
Let me, first of all, that's amazing. Let's talk about that, how uncommon that is. Having kind of seen your life unfold, at least, I won't say life unfold, but at least finding purpose at such a young age. And then actually possessing the discipline to start kind of navigating through this path without saying like, this is what I'm called to be, right? I think is amazing, yet it's rare. For me, so like when I think of it, you know, like I got into fitness so much later, and a lot of it was because, you know, dad ended up dying, you know, young, premature because of cancer, just a bunch of bad health and then whatnot. And then for me being raised in the church, you know, I always feel like I have church genetics. And so like, you know, church, like preachers' body types only really come in two phases. You either get tall, lanky, or, you know, you know, but that's just how it is. And, you know, I never saw that, you know, like I never saw that. And I would always question, I was like, you know, like, man, we got God, but, you know, we getting beat by gout. And it like, to me, I couldn't put two and two together. And I was like, there's gotta be something more. And then, you know, when I would go to the gym, and the gym I was going to at the time it had upstairs where people would lift weights, and I would get kind of fascinated. Like they're lifting weights. Like, okay, you know, I'm just used to hooping. I'm from Chicago. We hoop, right? Hoop and then go get McDonald's afterward. But I'm like, these people are really dedicated, and kind of seeing it and starting to understand why. And I realized something happens, something that is unexplainable. It's like being bitten, right? Like it just clicks for you. When was that moment? And it could be at that, you know, you said at 13, but when was that moment where it clicked and it was like, oh, I'm gonna do this and I'm gonna do this well? You're muted.
Sorry about that. I have a pup. He was barking a little bit. So I think for me, it was that first summer I joined that gym.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember being in there, and I was going every morning. And then one day, one of the trainers in there was like, you ever thought about competing? And I was just like, wow, who, me? You talking to me?
Yeah.
And it was just such a pivotal moment for me because I struggled with my weight when I hit puberty. So I was like teased, like when I was growing up, for like being overweight and all that kind of thing. So just to get to the point where I was then like, I had this dream, and it was, again, just, you know, your mom was always going to talk you up, like, you could do anything you want. But then other people started saying, you know what, you can do it, and let's do it. Let's make it happen. And I could see you have what it takes. Yeah. That's when I was just like, I got to ride this out. I got to see what's going to happen and go for it. So that for me is when like the flip switched, for so to say. Yeah. And it was almost like I began to see that there was just a separation that happened between, don't get me wrong, I still hung out in high school and had friends and all that, and we go kick it and all that. But that's when I knew that my path was just going to look really different than the people around me. And I just leaned into it. And the more I leaned into it, the more that part of me got nurtured, you know, and it's kind of like the saying goes, you know, water what waters you. And I just kept watering it more. And I had all these people around me that were so encouraging to say, you know, you got this, keep going. Like, you got this, keep going. Let's just see what you can do. So I was really blessed to have that support system around me. And I think that's where a lot of people kind of fall by the wayside, is because they don't really truly have the right kind of support around them to support them in this journey that they want to do, because it's so different. You know, it's a whole lifestyle change, and it looks different because no one else in my family did this. You know, I wasn't raised to do this, you know. But I would say that's when it really happened. And once I saw that potential, that spark, I couldn't let that go. I just couldn't.
I want to get into this support system. You brought it up. I know we got to cut to a break, got to pay some bills, but I think your ecosystem matters, right? There's a reason why palm trees don't grow in Chicago. After this quick word from our sponsors, we're going to get into the support system, because relationships do matter. After a quick word from this break.
There's a hero in all of us waiting to be unleashed. All it takes is just that one last push. Activate the hero within with CVMK Global Supplements. All natural, steroid-free, designed to enhance performance, build muscle, and increase energy. You are unstoppable. You can do this. Become your own hero at www.cvmkglobal.store.
Y'all go to www.cvmkglobal.store. I'm telling y'all, you do not want to miss out. cvmkglobal.store. I got with me the handy dandy super thick creatine, myself. always keep it in my bag, but I decided, you know what, I'm gonna show you, because people be thinking I don't have it on me. I always have it on me. Of course, I'm the founder of the company. I should have it on me, but look, www.cvmkglobal.store. You will not regret. All right, so ecosystems matter. Processes are everything, and people that feed into these processes amplify results, right? So for you, because it's hard to find your tribe. It's hard to find, like you said, what waters you, right?
Yeah.
Who has been, or who, like the group, has been that cultivator of care for you and your journey in this mode?
Yeah, that's a great question. I mean, of course, I have my day ones who have been there since beginning, right? And that would be like my mom, my sister, my family, my people that I grew up with. I have some childhood friends that I still talk to this day that were around me back then. But I would say the older that I've gotten, the older you grow into more relationships, you find more people that connect with on your journey. I think one of the dope things about bodybuilding and competing is you meet people that you would have never crossed paths with otherwise. And it's all of us at different stages of our journeys, right? So I definitely have a circle of friends that I've built just from competing alone, that some have become lifelong friends that I can't even imagine my life without. So I think the recurring trend across everyone is I surround myself with people who have a growth mindset. I don't really surround myself around people who have a scarcity mindset, who have issues with self-doubt and disbelief, because that energy will pull you down if you let it, And on this path, you have to really stay encouraged. You have to kind of be able to push past your own limiting beliefs. And if you got people around you who got their own limiting beliefs, that's not going to really help serve you. So I've learned to kind of cultivate a circle around me of people that truly support me, but also are in their own path of like excelling and going for what they want to achieve in life, because it all inspires everyone. It's one big ecosystem.
How do you pivot people? Like, like you mentioned, you said, I don't deal with anybody with a scarce mindset. So there has to be some truth that maybe or maybe not there was somebody or that might have had that, right? Yeah. How do you go about, I don't want to say fire. You don't want to fire people.
No, yeah, you don't fire. But it ain't like you ain't make the cut, get out. You pick up. Not like that. But I think for me, one of my superpowers is being able to speak to the winner in people and getting them to see like what their true shine is. A lot of people say, man, Brit, you just seem so positive. You're such a force. You're such a light. Well, that's because I see the light in other people. So I'm going to speak to that. I'm not going to speak to what I see you struggling through. And the more I do that, the more I find that people around me, they start to gravitate towards that. Now, granted, there's people, we all go through stages in our life. That's not to say that if someone's going through a tough time, you don't have space in my life. I'm not saying that at all. But in general, if you are focused on what you have and you have a gratitude mindset, then we're going to be able to rock with each other. And if you don't have a gratitude mindset, I don't necessarily fire you or kick you out, but I kind of ask questions to kind of get to the bottom of why you don't.
This mindset, how has it been, I would say, navigating through this new space? Because I think you talked about, you're a coach at, first off, I think what's happening in particularly this niche, inspiration doesn't mean instruction.
Absolutely.
Right. Yeah. Right. And instruction doesn't always inspire, because I don't think instruction has to always inspire. It's supposed to correct, right? Like that's right. That's part of it. I think inspiration is, and part of it, aspiration becomes another part of it, but ultimately transformation is the goal, right? So there's some type of correcting with that. How have you tried to really maintain that balance? Like, yeah, okay, I don't mind, flexing the biceps, but I also want to make sure that I'm giving the community, the ecosystem, the true keys to transformation.
Yeah, I think the way that I've done that is by sharing my story and talking. I think there are a lot of people in the fitness industry, to your point that you kind of said in the beginning of the show, that it is a superficial industry. Let's just call it what it is, right? It's fitness, it's aesthetic. But I think in order that what really separates me from other people that are just, for lack of better words, flexing online is I'm not afraid to get out there and talk. I'm not afraid to share my story. I'm not afraid to speak to people about things that I'm vulnerable about, right? Because I find that in sharing my vulnerability, there's a lot of power and strength in that. And that's really what I have found that has drawn people in the most. And that is what I can attribute to my business taking off the way that it has. Because when I first started my coaching business, now 7 years ago, I didn't have the following that I have now. I didn't have the clientele that I have now or any of that. And it really just started from me sharing my story one day of like, hey, y'all, I went through a tough time in life. I'm trying to get back on track. I fell off, the wagon, and here's my journey to get back. And then I found that I had women starting to reach out to me like, hey, I'm so inspired by what you're going through. Could you help get me back on track? And I'm just like, me? They're like, yeah, you. And I'm like, yeah, okay. And that's really how my business was started, because I didn't have a coaching business. When I started back in like 2009, when I graduated college, there was no Instagram. There was no online coaching. It was just, you worked in the gym. You were in the gym, putting up weights, wiping down machines, training clients that way, so it just opened the door for me to help women across the world, really, because I've had clients all over the world in a way that I never saw possible. But it started with me not being afraid to just show who I am outside of how I look. And I think that's where a lot of people tend to fall short in the fitness industry is we get really caught up in just the aesthetics part of it, that we forget that our stories are very powerful. And that's what's going to connect people to us and grow us.
I like that. Let's go there. Let's go. I want to take a shift into that vulnerability. Vulnerable moments, like for you, my wife said something to me, and I guess, sometimes I can be a meathead, I guess. And I'm clueless. I think everybody is clueless if you don't belong to a certain group, right? I don't know what goes on in the mind of a woman before they go to a gym. I don't know how they prepare. Look, when I come, it's time to go to the gym, I'm just looking for my sweats, my Nikes, and my band, like literally, it's like I got my headphones, they're charged, my Nikes, that's literally it. I mean, it's not even a thing, right? So we talk about that vulnerability. Like, what are some of the things that maybe men just like we need to be cognizant of? Like, maybe we're not even aware that something is going on.
Mm-hmm. Well, one, I think the biggest thing is that a lot of people fall into the comparison trap. And I know I've definitely been there like a time or two, and I still have to put myself out of that. And it happens to men and women. I think you walk into a gym, especially a gym, and you look around and you see people, you're like, man, this person is really in shape. This person is really, cut up, or they're toned, or whatever words you use to describe people. And that begins to get you in your head thinking like, I don't belong here. So I think the first part is to realize that everyone had a day one. No one woke up and looked like that. Okay. And no matter where you are on your journey, it's okay. Like it's all good. No one in there is judging you, So I think part of it is just kind of reminding yourself of that, because I have seen that is the number one thing that stops people from staying consistent is they talk themselves out of continuing to go because they think it's going to take forever to get to where they see someone else. And you don't have to look at them. Just look at where you are. And as long as you get 1% better each day, that's the goal. 1% better. That's it.
Yeah.
You can't help but to get to where you want to go. So I think that piece is the first. And I also think the second one is just lack of education. I think the great thing, the gift and the curse of social media, a lot of information out there and a lot of information out there, right? So it can be really hard to decipher, because kind of how you mentioned, like the stuff that's gimmicky versus, okay, what's the stuff that's going to actually get me real results and that's going to move the needle on what I want to do? And I think a lot of people out there try to DIY it. And if you're not real with yourself and you can't admit that, this DIY, and I've been doing this about 10 years, I've been trying to lose these same 10 pounds. This ain't working. I got to do something. And there's no shade. It's no shade. I say that in love, but I say that even from personal experience. Like, you got to get out your own way, and be open to being like, you know what? I know I might be able to, rock it in these other areas of my life, but this area, I need a little bit of help. So let me find someone let me seek help where I can get it. And I think if people did that more, you'd be way more successful because you wouldn't be fighting this losing battle with yourself, thinking you can DIY it and you're getting frustrated in that process because you can't.
That's real. And I think, men, we definitely suffer from comparative syndrome. It's like it's on steroids with us though, because when our egos get involved, like it becomes real ignorant at times. I say this, like, I'd be the first to admit I'm jealous of The Rock. I'm like, as a bald skin, as a light skinned bald brother, like, I think I got a nice physique, but like he just aggravates me, like, and I don't know if it's like it aggravates because I'm like, man, this dude is almost 60 and he's getting better by the age, So, but it's a healthy, it's like a competitiveness, and then I think also because I compete against Zoa, but there's that, and I think that's fine. But unfortunately, there's also this thing of what I would call disingenuous. How do you say this? I'm trying to be nice about this.
You can be real about it. It's okay.
Let's be real. Let's be real.
About it.
I don't like the Ozempic people. I mean, I like that they have options.
Yeah.
I'm not against Ozempic. I don't want to get sued by Ozempic. Ozempic, you're the best thing in the world. If I had to, I'd take Ozempic. But I don't like, this is my biggest pet peeve. I know you don't even own a gym membership. I know you don't work out. And you down 20 pounds, I'm going to be like, you're not a surgery type guy, so that's like, you Ozempic, but it's okay. I'm not mad. But I do think, and this is something I've been trying to really do, is be honest about the process. Like, yeah, there's a lot to that, but that's a vulnerability with me, and it gets on my nerves. And so like, and I don't know if I'm being petty or not, but it gets on my nerves. Before I jump into a real hard question, what's a pet peeve of yours? Something that just aggravates you, that you'd be like, this aggravates me.
Okay, so your thing is, I'm not against the Ozempic people because I don't mind people using tools to help get them where they want to go. Yeah. But I do align with you where you say people aren't real about what they did. And to me, these BBLs that the people, recipients, who are then turning around and saying, oh, you can get results like me if you just do these squats and do this workout and buy these booty bands. And I'm like, no, babe, are you going to give them the number to your surgeon? Because that's step one. And then let's talk about all the other steps, And I think like one of the things that I have to deal with, because my clientele are women, is they come to me and I ask them, okay, what do you want to look like? And they'll show me these pictures of these women who have been surgically enhanced. And I'm like, she's had some help that you don't have. So let's kind of set some realistic expectations. But a lot of these women out there who have had these cosmetic surgeries, and I'm not against cosmetic surgeries at all. Yeah. But if you're doing that and then you're selling fitness programs, I believe there's a level of like onus to your audience that you owe to let them know, like, hey, you can do this in conjunction with this. But making it seem like you got some results and you got implants in your butt, like I can't get with it. I can't get with it. I can't.
I like it. Look, after a quick break, because we got to pay some more bills. I want to go to how this industry is shaping, and really, I think the business side of it, right? And I think like it's a weirdness because as we are visible, we don't own it, and it's starting to just feel a little funny. After a quick word from our sponsors. Unfortunately, every day is not a day of spring. Life is filled with toxic temptations designed to entice you, to destroy you, to manipulate you, to poison you, to harm you, to cancel you, and to make you sick. And at CVMK, we've designed supplements so that you can fight back
You can be who you were destined to be. You can unleash the hero within with our signature supplement line. Go to www.cvmkglobal.store.
Yo, www.cvmkglobal.store. I'm telling you, use code V-Way. You're not gonna regret it. I'm telling you. I'm telling you. I want you to get the vanilla protein that just dropped, super thick. I want you to get the pre-workout Warrior Thirst. Man, you need a little help? I got you. I designed a product so that you won't disappoint. You got Samson and you got Batter Up. You put it together, you'll thank me in the morning, or you'll be repenting. But either way, you'll call me, right? www.cvmkglobal.store. We are back with the one and the only Brit. Brit, so I'm a student of fitness and a student of bodybuilding. I realized a long time ago, I will never play in the NBA. I will never score an NFL touchdown. And I don't have to. And my vision, my goal is to be the Phil Knights, the Joe Weeders, these people that owned these basically institutions. They were never the face, they were never the talent, but they were always connected, right? So that's how I see myself. That's what I believe that God has called me to be, is that. But this is what is disturbing, right? I was listening to podcast that had Robbie Robinson on there, the Black Godfather. Robbie is a legend, and he talked about being on Pumping Iron with Arnold and how they cut most of his scenes and stuff. But this is what got me. He said the bus that Joe Weider's company used was his bus, is actually his likeness, and he sued, and he can never get a judgment in his favor, and they made millions off of him. But it was actually his likeness with Joe Weider's face. So from the neck down, it's all him. And I said to myself, isn't it interesting? Like, dang, sometimes as like people of color, like the talent that we possess, like, we could be the talent, but to not own it is disturbing, right? Like for you, and this is why I'm so glad, you're a leader, you're an entrepreneur, and you own your own business. How has that worked for you? Because there's a lot of talent, but very few owners. So talk to me about the business of this thing.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought this up, because I feel like there's so many of us out there doing great things. We just don't necessarily invest in putting ourselves out there. So we kind of stay unknown. So I'm really big on, putting yourself out there, building your brand, building your personal brand, building your business at the same time. And I think for me, that's what's been a game changer, and at least just growing everything that you kind of see now that you talked about. Because I realized early on that, kind of like you talked about in the beginning in those magazines, it wasn't a lot of us. It was not. We were few, far in between. And I remember looking for all, like, okay, where are the Black women? And when I was seeing, I'm like, okay, there's one, okay, there's another. And, it was so few and far. And I think now we've gotten to a point where, even though the fitness industry is in fact saturated, I don't think there's enough of us, especially Black women in particular, sharing enough of our stories, really investing in getting ourselves out there. Because the thing about it is, yes, it's saturated, but we can still control the narrative around our brands and our businesses, right? Yeah. But unless we invest in that and really like get disciplined around creating the content so that people can get to know us, discover who we are, we're still going to kind of be in this kind of unknown kind of space. So I think that's the first part of it for me, that I feel like I made a really conscious decision to commit to when I said, okay, I'm going to really go in this and go all in at this.
What for you, has it been rewarding? What I mean by rewarding, I don't mean like internally rewarding, but do you feel like your value is actually being recognized in this industry?
Very much so. And I think it kind of just depends on who you're talking about, right? Through what lens.
Sure.
Because I started this not to become, social media popular or gain followers. I started this because I wanted to change people's lives in the way that my life was changed, in the way that I saw other people's lives changing, who really committed to the process of wanting to better themselves inside and out. So for me, if I change one, I'm valuable. And I know that I've done that, So I perceive value in that way. Now, I mean, if you're looking for other like markers of, okay, have I received value? Yes. I mean, I have gotten brand recognition. I've gotten sponsorships. I've gotten opportunities, things like this to be featured on your podcast and whatnot as a byproduct of me just continuing to, grow, put myself out there. But I would say the real value is in the lives that you change, not necessarily a follower count or anything like that. At least for me, that's what it's like.
No, I totally agree, because I tell people, like, man, look, I get more satisfaction with people that aren't, they didn't play, high school track or ran track in college or any of that, and they come up to me like, I really like your products and it's really helping me. Like, that's where I find true satisfaction, regardless of whatever metric they send me, and they say, hey, Cody, your user engagement isn't enough, you need to do this. And I'm like, look, first of all, no. Second of all, like, I'm a little too old. I'm not doing that now, so but no, I totally concur with you. I want to go here because you definitely hit upon it. I'm grateful that I'm seeing, like you're saying, there's more diversity in this niche. There's also, and I'm not mad, I had a chance to interview the owner of, one gym in Atlanta. It's a growing fitness gym down there. He's an alpha, really cool guy. He's on the show. That episode, I think, airs late August or September, whatever. And he's like, it's hard because sometimes we get caught in, do I just highlight the benefits of this, like you said, because it's a vanity business, or the aesthetic, right? And then you get the pressure, like you got to get the big booty girl, right? And so that's what you kind of get, at least that's what the business expert said you got to do, right? And he was like, that's, he's like, sometimes it's competing interests. He said it doesn't always align with our brand or what we stand for. He's like, but we understand everybody has their audience, right? For you, how do you navigate the toxicity of it all?
When you say toxicity, in what lens are you referring to?
See, that's hard, because is it toxic? That's it. That's the question, right?
Yeah.
So you got to, so Brit, like this, and I'm not mad. Sometimes I won't name names. I don't want to spoke with these people, but I look at, other brands and be like, man, I don't know if I'm willing to do that or have that just to sell a product. Though I get it, right? And obviously, at least Instagram is telling me this is effective, but I don't know, right? So the gimmicks that are out there, right? Because I know, when something has been cut, spliced, like you said, the enhancements, how the enhancements get there. We know what goes behind the camera, so that when you see it, that 30-second reel, you're amazed. But I know how the sausage is made, right? So I'm like, I'm not as moved, because I'm like, I see they were a little shaky, didn't hold it right, So for you, how do you go navigating that space?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think for me, I've had to like draw a line in the sand on where I want to be. Like, what side of the playground do I want to be on? Now, this is not a knock to anyone out there, but I made a conscious decision that, okay, I don't want to alter myself in order just to be able to sell something, because I don't want to keep up a facade just to show up. That's why my name is Brit Inez ran across all social media, because I'm always going to be me. So I made a conscious decision to do that. Now, it is pressure involved, right? Because you see these other people with these larger audiences who are getting bigger brand deals and more opportunities, who are going about it in ways that may not be the most ethical, if we being real, and they're selling it. So I do see that, and I'm like, okay, man, so my growth is slower than some people, but I'm okay with that because I can honestly say I feel good about showing up as myself. I'm not showing up trying to be something or someone that I'm not. And I think you have to be able to make that decision and stand firm on that decision and understand, decide which one do you want to be? Do you want to be the most popular and the most well-known and whatnot? Or do you want to have a group of people who truly, truly rock with you and are going to support you and stand behind you and truly believe in your journey and whatnot? And I'd rather have the latter, because to me, that's what makes me feel good on the inside. And that's what fulfills me.
I agree. I got one more question before I cut to this break right here. Get some water because I'm starting to sound like Joe Biden now. So, because the next round of questions is all easy live, like Tupac, Biggie, stuff like that. But number one thing. So growing up, we talk about defeating stereotypes. We talk about creating and providing positive and knowledgeable information that is actually true. People can use it to better their lives. You would hear that, bodybuilding isn't safe for women. But when I look at the gym, I would say that it used to be like 90-10 or 95-5. Now I would say that the majority of gym goers are women. It's not, or it might be 50-50. Let's just say it's an even 50-50, but nobody has a real dominance, right? So let's answer right here so we can set the narrative straight. Is bodybuilding safe for women?
It is definitely safe for women as long as you're prioritizing your health, you have a good knowledge base, and you're working with coaches who have your health and best interest in heart. Yes.
Perfect. After a quick word from this break, we're going to get into, I want to know, Prince, Michael Jackson, Britney's favorites before we close out this interview after a quick word from our sponsors.
I literally just tried the best pre-workout on the planet. With Superpower pre-workout, you have increased focus and a power boost every single time you work out. I literally just tried the best pre-workout on the planet.
Can you hear me?
With Superpower pre-workout, you have increased focus and a power boost every single time you work out. It's not only packed with 225 milligrams of caffeine, but it also has citrulline and creatine. It's insane how much energy and focus I had during my workouts. If you're ready to take your workouts to the next level, then ditch your current pre-workout and get the Superpower pre-workout to be your own hero.
All right, we're back. I don't know what happened there. This is why we do a pre-recording. So when I go back and edit, they'll be like, man, that was smooth. And I won't see any of this. And I love it. All right. So look, lightning round. Ask a few questions and I'm going to get you out of here. I'm a huge music person.
Okay.
Huge music person.
I love it.
So we got to settle it. My mother directed the choir growing up. So music, was my household kind of thing. So Prince, who's better? Prince, Michael Jackson.
Oh man. I'm gonna have to go with Prince.
Oh, all right. Not mad. Better rapper. Yeah, let's do it like this. Better rapper, Jay-Z or Nas?
Man, these are really tough questions. These are harder than the questions you asked me before.
Hey.
The hard deck, is this the one where I get the hard questions?
This is the hard questions at the end.
Okay, let's see. Jay-Z or Nas? I mean, they're both up there, but I would probably say I'm a bigger Jay-Z fan.
Queen, who has the best vibe when it comes to the music? Sade or Anita Baker?
Sade.
Oh, all right. And last one, because you're from Chicago, Cubs or White Sox?
Sox, have to.
Southside wins all day.
Yes.
Brittany, thank you so much. You have been absolutely fantastic. Look, I know you're a creator. Before you give all your sign off and your handles, creators are always creating. They're always working on something. There's always some new project, some new whatever entities, something that they're doing that is on the horizon or something that's bubbling in the back of their mind. If you don't mind sharing with the audience, what can we look forward to coming from you?
Sure, absolutely. So right now, I have a vlog series going on my YouTube channel, and it's a chronicle of my journey of competing this year called The Golden Era. I started it like a couple of months ago, and I drop weekly episodes. So if you're curious to see the behind the scenes of what's going on in my competition life, check me out there on YouTube. I'm Brit Inez, ran across all social media. And also, we are getting ready to launch season 2 of our podcast, The Femme Fit Chicks. It's going to be dropping in September. So make sure you head on over to our Instagram channel, check us out there, and we stream on Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts from.
Y'all can everybody subscribe to the YouTube channel, see the journey, and then follow the podcast. Them Fit Chicks, listen to it, because if we don't support us, who will? Who will? I always say support gets supported. And if y'all want to keep seeing amazing people like we have on today, I need you to do a couple things. First of all, go to www.cvmkglobal.store. Look, browse around, shop. Let me know. Hey, I like, don't like. Go there. Follow us on YouTube, CVMK. Obviously, there's a current thing. It's CVMK, right? It's 4 letters. It's not even hard. This is what I love about subscription. It's free. You don't even got to pay. All you got to do is click a button, occasionally like a video, and leave a comment. But go there today. Like, share, subscribe. YouTube, CVMK, Fanbase, CVMK. Meta, Instagram, CVMK Global, because they allow me to write the full character length out. TikTok, CVMK Global, because that's where it goes down. And guys, without you, none of this is possible. So I want to thank you. Thank Brittany again. And until next time, guys.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
If you think exercise alone got me looking like this, well, think again. CVMK Global Super Thick got me right. I'm obsessed, and yeah, I won't stop talking about it because it helped me grow in all the right places. Its creatine provides a fast and reliable way to increase your power, size, and shape, and it's scientifically proven to help you reach your physical goals in a safe, controlled manner. So if you want to increase muscle size, pump, and thickness in your muscle groups, you need Super Thick.